Yukon Conservation Society is running its first ever demonstration project, the Yukon Electric Thermal Storage, or ETS, demonstration project. We'll be studying the peak shifting capabilities of electric thermal storage heating systems in the homes of about 40 Yukoners. Over the next 2 winters, we'll be collecting performance data from those ETS units and passing it on to our research partners, Yukon University's Northern Energy Innovation Research Team. By the end of the project, they'll be publishing their results from their studies, as well as the answers to questions like the one that we'll be exploring in this video.
The question bears a bit of explaining. Let's start by exploring what the winter peak is, how it impacts the Yukon grid, what electric thermal storage is, how it could reduce the winter peak, and how we're testing the peak shifting capabilities of ETS here in the Yukon.
The peak refers to times when the demand on the electrical grid is highest. Here in the Yukon, the peaks are largest in the winter, so we call them the winter peak. In the winter, there are also typically 2 peaks per day, so we sometimes call it a 2-peak demand profile. The 2 peaks, generally occurring in the morning and in the evening, occur when people use electric heat when they wake up and when they get home, respectively, along with the use of other electrically demanding appliances like stoves and hot water heaters. As the territory's population grows and more homes are being built, particularly those that are using traditional electric heat, like baseboards, so too does the territory's electrical demand, particularly during peak times.
Peak demand, the most electricity the territory uses at any given time, is a problem in the Yukon because our electricity system is isolated. When Yukoners need more electricity than Yukon Energy can provide through their hydro facilities alone, they must find other ways to meet that demand since our grid isn't connected to any other province or territory that could otherwise help out. With the growing winter peak, the situation has become increasingly dire. New generation or storage capacity must be added to the grid without delay to meet the growing need. For isolated grids like the Yukon, fossil fuels like natural gas and diesel present a timely solution, albeit a noisy, dirty, and unpopular one. There are cleaner long-term solutions in the works, such as buying hydropower from Atlin or the Moon Lake Pumped Storage Project, but these complex projects will take several years to come to fruition.
One way individual Yukoners can help reduce the winter peak is not necessarily by using less electricity, although that's good too, but it's by shifting when they use electricity. There are some relatively simple ways to do that, such as by using a programmable thermostat, or by doing laundry later at night, particularly the dryer. Or you can use energy storage technologies, like ETS, or electric thermal storage. ETS works on the following principle. Electric thermal storage works by drawing electricity off the grid during off-peak times, so when demand on the grid is lowest, typically overnight and a little bit midday. That electricity is run through electric resistive heating elements, much like you'd find in a toaster or an electric stove, to heat up iron-rich bricks. The heat that's stored in those bricks is then available for heating the space throughout the day based on a thermostat set by the occupant.
The project will attempt to reduce peak demand on the Yukon grid by shifting electrical demand away from the peak periods using the ETS systems we install. Their charging times are set by the Yukon Conservation Society, guided by our partners at Yukon University, the Yukon government, and Yukon Energy, as well as the ETS systems distributors to ensure the most effective peak shifting capability is achieved. Participants maintain control of their thermostat and enjoy the warmth of their ETS systems, knowing their homes are reliably and primarily heated with renewable energy. The Northern Energy Innovation Team will determine the extent to which the ETS project has shifted the winter peak by comparing the power usage data from the ETS units to electricity consumption and generation data from Yukon Energy. Since only about 40 homes will have participated in the project, it isn't expected that there will be a drastic impact on the peak, but any measurable change can be used to predict how a wider scale ETS adoption in the Yukon might affect the winter peak.
This concludes the breakdown of the primary research question for the Yukon Electric Thermal Storage Demonstration Project. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us by phone at 867-668-5678, extension 6, or by email at ets@yukonconservation.org. Thanks for listening.